afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, June 14th, 2022, a little after 3 p.m. Eastern. We're having a time for change call Wednesday, tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern, and a reverse aging health call Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. One quote from Buddha is, "Master your thoughts." There are 1,000 paths to enlightenment and 1,000,000 doors we can walk through to experience this moment as divine. One of these precious doors is not so easy or obvious to see, yet we unconsciously step through it every single day. It is the perpetual swinging door of judgment. We are so often unaware whenever we are passing judgment and obvious of how it is a secret passageway to the most enlightened and heavenly state of being. No matter if we are conscious human beings or not, the mind is constantly judging ourselves, other people, this world, and anything that it can get a hold of. The mind was born with this master-like judgeaholic power. It can judge anything in milliseconds. You may not have realized this, yet probably in the last 15 minutes, your mind passed 10 judgments on yourself, someone else, or something in the world around you as either good or bad. The judgmental mind is perpetually busy working away at labeling life, and this workaholic is a slippery gremlin to catch. We are so accustomed to the mind judging everything in this life, it's as if we've been soaking our hands in warm water for 25 years, and we don't realize that it's completely wrinkled and about to fall off. So just to clarify exactly what judgment is, for me, judgment is the mind labeling something in life as either good or bad, but not both. It is a one-sided viewpoint of existence which separates and divides. And interestingly, judgment manifests only when we are living up in the head and are disconnected from our heart. When we are living from the heart, the mind cannot judge. This occurs because the heart is free from duality, and the mind can only exist in duality, being black and white. The heart cannot get hooked in whatever the mind believes is only good or bad. When the heart is leading the way, we are free from the perpetual prison of the judging mind. If and when we are to be free from judgment, we must choose to drop out of the head and into the heart. The mind will quiet and become very still. From this space, we can watch our mind closely and see just how slippery its judgmental habit is. We can see how it tends to avoid what it deems is scary. The mind often believes that if I get what I want, this is good, and then I will be happy. And if I get what I don't want, this is bad, then I will be unhappy. The more enlightened path, however, is understanding that in this great, divine, supreme, all-intelligent universe, we are going to get it all. We always, always, always get what we want and what we don't want. For example, we might manifest our dream partner, our soulmate, only to later realize that they trigger our deepest, darkest issues and childhood insecurities to surface every day. Or perhaps we spend half our lives running in the great societal rat race, being devoted to striving, achieving big, luxurious dreams, and becoming financially free, only to realize later that we missed out on so many beautiful sunsets while we were indoors chasing some fantasy. Life always both. We get death and birth. We always get both. And this polar opposite is inside everything that exists. The yin is contained within the yang, and the yang within the yin. The more often we practice seeing, feeling into, and accepting how we always get what we want and what we don't want in this life, the judgmental mind just drops on its own accord. We naturally start living every day in deep harmony with existence. We become vulnerable to existence again. And in this sweet humility, we can feel the great perfection of life. We deeply accept that this existence is the expression of the highest intelligence, and that the good and bad judgment plan is the smartest plan available from God to create a spiritual awakening experience inside every being on this earth. So I challenge you to see if you can find a single situation, person, or thing of this world that is only 100% positive and does not also have the tiniest hidden negative byproduct within it. If you think you found something like a new flower budding or a amazing sunset, just wait and investigate it a bit longer, as both sides will eventually show. There is always another side to the coin, as the flower will one day wither away, and the amazing sunset colors always fade into the darkness. We always get both. The rose always comes with a few thorns, even if they are small. So my invitation for everyone today is to free yourself from the judgment habit. You can do this. Just start looking deeper into yourselves and accept any judgments you may have. Like I'm too fat, too short, too ugly, too poor, too dumb, too smart, too much in my head. Welcome all the judgments you have about yourself. And just don't reject, avoid, or judge them. See them for what they are. They are one-sided judgments that you have about you. When you can truly see and welcome the judgment, it will have less energy and magnetic pull on you. And in a matter of minutes, the contracting hard feeling around the judgmental thought will lessen. Drop into stillness. You will become truly free from it. As far as this welcoming process works, the secret is moving totally into the experience of judging. Excuse me. When you consciously are feeling only one side of the judgment, awareness grows in you. Awareness grows into you. You cannot fall into the old judgment again so easily next time. You can see just how it impacts your mind, emotions, and heart. When you remain in a one-sided experience of life deeply and fully for a long time, something inside you will soon tire, and then the judgment pendulum just swings to the other side. For example, you may feel and say, I am never good enough. I cannot do anything. I can't do anything right. After welcoming that judgment and feeling for 5 to 10 or even 20 minutes, something in you will exhaust itself. Release the contraction and wake up. This smaller, more enlightened aspect inside you will sneak in and perceive that on some level you are doing everything right and you are totally good enough. When you welcome judgment, the judgment pendulum soon swings, and this allows you to know what perfect peace feels like. Now, some people may think that always welcoming and acknowledging both the good and bad in life is just some boring, fatalistic, nihilistic, uncreative path that only leads to a state of apathy. Quite the contrary is true. By learning to accept and welcome it all, we find that we are truly okay with everything that is and feel a more spacious quality within ourselves. We feel we have more time to develop our ability to expand consciousness and relax into our lives. From this expanded space, we dramatically increase our manifesting vibration, deepen our state of inner peace, and become a magnet for the most amazing life situations to occur. Excuse me. You will find that the welcoming process is extremely powerful, simply because it leaves nothing out. It comes from a deep spiritual place inside you that is saying yes to the totality of your existence. You are just not interested in fighting, proving anything, or resisting life anymore. Instead, you move and feel totally fluid like water, without resistance, force, or control. And this state is so easy to realize that God is everywhere and in everything. Don't judge a day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant. Robert Louis Stevens. It is this deep welcoming mind that creates an enlightened mindset where you actually feel, see, and understand the divine perfection of life. We become more interesting people as we stop wasting our energy trying to negate others, ourselves, or continuously be upset with the way life is. In a mind that is free from all judgments of ourselves and others, we naturally appreciate it all. We can see that the glass is half empty and half full at the same time. We can feel this infinite empty universe all around us, and also sense how the sun is always rising somewhere on this planet, sharing and radiating its brilliant light. Living in the enlightened mindset is like floating in a sea of orgasm, waves of deep cosmic opening to joy, happiness, appreciation, and ecstasy can actually waft through our bodies at any time. When the mind is not occupied with judgments, we have more energy to make more love, explore our spiritual nature, and taste the freedom that exists at the core of our being. When we can live daily in this enlightened mindset, everything inside of us changes. All the previous pain we've been carrying seem to have mysteriously disappeared. We can naturally and fully relax in our divine, balanced nature. Now, what I find is the most interesting aspect of all is that this judgment-free, enlightened mind is our most natural state. It is already inside of us and exists at the core of who we are, at the seed of our consciousness itself. We can only experience it directly, however, when we have respect and reverence for the perfect balance that exists in everything. When we acknowledge the divine balance within every situation, person, accident, belief, memory, and atom throughout the universe, we can open up to it. The more acceptance we have that there's always good in the bad and bad in the good, excuse me, something deeper inside us lets go, and we can finally relax into our deepest spiritual experience of life. When the mind calls off the search for defining and redefining what's good and bad, we have an infinite reservoir of creative energy to surrender fully to our soul. This enlightened life is not just about cultivating a deeper relationship with our minds. It's getting beyond the mind. When we master our mind, we no longer live in fear. When the mind falls from its altar, we rise to the summit, and we learn how to drop into a perpetual state of surrender, allowing the greater intelligence of the universe to run the entire show. We see how every precious moment in this life has this bigger universal force behind it all. In seeing this, the mind totally gives up, and we realize that we have become the perfection that exists within everything. With enough awareness, we can totally stop the judgmental mind habit, wake up from the addiction. Then we'll know what real freedom is like, and nothing else will satisfy more than this freedom. This true freedom is free from all forms of pain. It is the greatest experience of this life. This means the mind can slip back into clinging to delusion and desire, and you don't. The mind might crave, whine, yearn to be free, yet you know that you are the one behind it who is actually already free. You remain the watcher, deeply detached and liberated from the mind's antics. It's the greatest, deeply eternal loving of all when you realize that you are not your mind. The more we practice welcoming judgments, the easier it becomes to see the mind and how to be free from it. When we can always see the good, the bad, and the balanced meeting of the two, then the struggles of this life do not matter so much anymore. The mind soon gets trained to only see balance and perfection. It automatically observes how the good is in the bad, and the bad is in the good, and how these two worlds always collide, and there is nothing left but freedom. There is just the pure observer watching and witnessing it all. Rely on the essence of your pure wisdom mind, not on judgmental perceptions. Rely on the spirit and meaning of the teachings, not on the words. Buddhist teaching. The enlightened judgment-free mind is always available and shows up when we release the need to be right and instead create more room to be happy. Happiness through inner peace becomes the goal. Instead of striving and focusing on surviving this life, with inner peace as the priority, the dualistic mind soon becomes free from attachment, desire, resistance, and contraction. We surrender to the heart and can actually feel deeply okay with whatever manifests and does not manifest in our lives. This enlightened mindset is not hard to achieve. It just takes the most deeply rooted devotion to ourselves. We must choose to be willing to know ourselves intimately and never stray from exploring further about who and what we are. This exploration leads to a profound honoring of the sacredness in all things in this life. We start honoring that this balanced state of perfection is everywhere. And we have nothing to complain about or try to change in ourselves anymore. Instead, we start worshiping everything around us. We see everything and everyone as the divine in physical form. We bow down to this very ordinary life, and we call it God. We look into a blade of grass and understand how it's just as sacred and important as our entire galaxy. To remain in a judgment-free, enlightened mind every day, we must choose to look at what cannot be looked at and revel in being totally real with our plan. If we wish to remain liberated, we must be willing to see where we are still in prison, fighting to get out. As long as we are fighting, we are still not truly free. So we must choose to always be aware of the slippery mind. We must never allow the sneaky judgments to take over us again. We must choose to be 100% creatively devoted to continuously being awake, aware, and ready to step beyond a seemingly safe judgmental world. We must choose to become the black sheep of this world if we are to be truly free. We cannot ever agree with anyone who says that some things are just 100% bad and nothing good at all will ever come out of it. We must choose to stop all movement whenever any judgment arises. We must choose to watch our thoughts and beliefs vigilantly. Be totally aware whenever the mind starts believing in some final truth. We must choose to do everything we can so that the ego cannot harden and cling to any opinions formed or thoughts containing right and wrong beliefs. This path, it takes some serious devotion. Blaming holds you in the energy of duality, of victim and abuser. Forgiving is a direct way of reclaiming your power and freeing yourself to love beyond judgment, grace alone. Blaming holds you in the energy of the duality, of a victim and abuser. Forgiving is a direct way of reclaiming your power, freeing yourself to love beyond judgment. Some people will tell you how the universe is not ready, not already in a perfect design. They might try to make you believe, or to make you a believer, that you should only get what you want, nothing else. Now, this seems like the ideal situation to be in, right? Well, the spiritual awakening process is always much deeper and more complex than it appears to be. If the universe was set up this way, the great mystery would be gone. If we should never know what a block, problem, pain, or failure was like, we would be without direction, feel perpetually numb, have no longing to dig deep inside our souls to find our life mission, creativity, and spiritual path. This universe is already set up in the most intelligent manner. It's designed so that we can get a good, solid taste of suffering, anxiety, or inner turmoil and use it to awaken with. Whenever we go unconscious and forget the divine, all-intelligent universe is everywhere around us, we instantly suffer. Whenever we allow the mind to form any judgment and register only one side of reality, our problems begin. The universe loves us so much that it doesn't want us to live in any lie. So it wakes us up with a little stress, anxiety, or emotional pain. Now, if we don't stop and drop our judgments, another level of suffering will soon manifest. If we don't stop and drop our judgments, another level of suffering will soon manifest. This pain is our most perfect and most loving teacher. And by welcoming it fully, we are led back to our real state of love, enlightenment, and freedom. So if you will, go to the place where you're not going to be interrupted, and I'm sure that we all are. And the first thing that we care to do, relax these bodies that we are in. We are all gods, no matter how the ego mind wants to fight you on that. Name it whatever you want. God, kingdom of God, heaven, almighty, source creator. That's what's inside these bodies. So we relax the body because we're aware that we're not the body, but we have the power to relax the body. And we do this through our breath. The breath has the power. The breath is the magic. The breath is the energy. So you focus on the breath. You listen to the breath. Easy and slowly, not, trying to fix it. Easy and slowly in through the nose. Easy and slowly out through the mouth. Listening to the breath brings us into the now. Every single time. Without fail. Listening to the breath brings us into the now. Every single time. What's so great about the now? Well, number one, when you move yourself into the now, you still the mind, the ego, and the subconscious mind. They don't exist. Not in the now. This is why we have such a tug of war. Because the ego mind is constantly trying to pull us into yesterday or tomorrow. This is where we suffer. The now we don't suffer. The now we're at peace. Freedom. And the body is the vessel, and the body's like a sponge. The body absorbs all emotion, stress, anger, fear, hatred, dishonesty, manipulation, revenge, all of it. The body absorbs it. And we don't really, the stress and everything, we store stress. Each of us stores stress someplace in the body. It just depends. It depends on the level of stress, anxiety, fear, worry that we accumulate, because we do accumulate it in the body. And eventually things start to happen biologically in our bodies because we have been storing this for so very, very, very long, even from childhood. So, and then something breaks, and then the fear and the worry and the stress continues. So when you know that, the breath is the magic. The breath releases. You surrender. We're always in surrender with ourselves. Always. We're surrendered to good. We're surrendered to bad. We're surrendered to happy. We're surrendered to sad. We're surrendered to wealthy. We're surrendered to poor. We're always in a mode of surrender. Now, the ego mind, it'll try to convince you that's weak. You're giving up. You're giving up, surrendering. And that's one of its tricks. So as you surrender and let go, you surrender about all the things. Everything that comes in, you surrender. You don't fight it, you don't ignore it. You don't try to sweep it under the carpet. You embrace it. You spend time with it. And you understand it. And it's gone. only in the now. So when you do this with the body releases. It isn't a tight fist. It's an open hand. And the breath is the way to the God within. Now we have over 60,000 thoughts each one of us send out to the universe. See, master your thoughts. Be aware of them. Over 60,000 thoughts. Why do you think that all of us, at times in our lives, we get these things that come in out of nowhere? And we say, where did that come from? It came from you. But the thought you put out, you weren't aware you put it out. It wasn't consciously aware. Not only that, we've got tens of millions and billions of thoughts that fly by like clouds in the sky. Now, and 99.999% of them are not yours. They're programs. And when you're in the now, and you're in the heart, mind, and you're in the now, you know it. But we all we grab one of the clouds and we float off. We do it on purpose? No. It just happens. We're in such habit of doing it. So we float off. And here's a time when you concentrate on being gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself. And in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal love, gratitude, and peace. Stay in gratitude all the time. So when you do float off, it isn't any big deal. But the neat thing is that you acknowledge it. Okay, so I floated off. I'll focus on my breath and I'll be in the now. You may have to do this, choose to do it, 100 more times a day. But after a while, it'll be automatic. You'll automatically kick in. You'll automatically say, I'll focus on my breath and I'll be in the now. That's a good habit. That's a real good one to get into. It's a natural state. See, what we're doing is since we've had amnesia for so long, we're rediscovering our natural state of being. What we do on this planet right now is not our natural state of being. These bodies are not supposed to age. A lot of things is not our natural state of being. And so some of us, whoever chooses to, seek that which is within us, not outside of us. When you start seeking outside of you, you suffer. Now the difference is, are you in the rat race or are you watching the rat race? Are you in it or are you watching? And when you watch, you're not distracted. You're not judging. Because your focus is the God within you. Now picture standing in front of three paths, right? You're in the center path. You're in the now. You're focused on your breath. Now you look to your left and you see yesterday path. And you look to your right and you see tomorrow path. Now you notice that the trees have formed a golden canopy over each path. Golden leaves and shimmering bark and branches. The path itself is a brilliant emerald green flaming grass. It appears to be grass. Now you do notice that yesterday's path is heavily worn. And that the path on the right, tomorrow's path, is heavily worn. Now, we will go into the past because we reminisce. We have nostalgia. These thoughts come in, and then we kind of ponder them, and we review them, and it's fun. And we also look at things that we did that didn't work, and so we say, well, I'm going to try something different to see if that works. Now, we all have a great hall, and the subconscious mind is basically the center of the great hall because the subconscious mind records everything. Everything. Since you enter that baby body, all past lives, everything. You go in, and everything outside of that body, everything, everyone, every occurrences, every instant is recorded by your subconscious mind. It can get really full. Not only that, but it plays back those recordings. This is how we could get caught in reliving things. They might seem a little different, a little tiny difference, but they're reruns. You ever said to yourself, wow, this seems really familiar, right? It's a rerun. The rerun is coming from the subconscious mind. And it doesn't mean that we all know this. It's not a bad thing. We just say, well, this seems very familiar. I think I've done this before. Could have been a past life. But it's recorded, and it's played back. So we'll go into the past, right? Yesterday, we enter a great hall. We open the door, and we enter this great hall that each of us have. And when you walk into a room, you don't realize it, but you immediately, quickly glance at the roof, the ceiling and the walls. Well, when you walk into your great hall, you do that, but there's no walls to see and no ceiling to see because it's so vast. You're not really overwhelmed by it. It's just pretty much a norm because you're used to it because you've been in there so many times. And so you'll get some movies and some pictures and some books from the shelves and drawers, and you'll go sit in an easy chair. There'll be a screen floating in front of you. And you'll watch some of the movies and read some of the books and look at some of the pictures. And you'll reflect, reminisce. Wow, this was a really good time. Could have been 20, 30, 40 years ago. Could have been yesterday. I really enjoyed this. When I did this, it didn't work out right. So maybe I'll try a different way and see what happens. So we kind of use the Great Hall as a reference at times as well to remind us of things that we have done that didn't work out and how we can do them differently so they do work out. But what happens is that we don't stay there. We will take everything, put it back in its proper place, turn off the light, shut the door, and move forward in life. And then on occasion, we'll revisit it. But some of us unconsciously will stay there so long that we end up taking that yesterday or that past, bring it into a future that doesn't exist, creating that future from that past and reliving that past in that future. This is why a lot of people will say, no matter what I do or what we do, we always end up here. Now, we all will eventually, the ego mind, right? You look at these paths, and you're the center path that now isn't worn, but the other two are really worn because the ego mind doesn't want us to stay or be in the now. It doesn't exist there. So we go in the future. We go in the future because the ego mind's sitting there poking us, pushing us, whispering to us. You gotta find this stuff out. You gotta hurry it. It's gotta happen now. I gotta have this happen now. And when we do that, we all know we get frustrated because it doesn't happen. Seems almost like there's a string tied to it, and it just keeps pulling away from you. Every time you reach for it, it's pulled away. So we get frustrated and frustrated and frustrated, and then we go into the future, and we seek out external authority because we can't find the answers. We don't seem to come across the answers for ourselves because we aren't going within. And so we seek external authority, and we seek card readers and tea leaf readers and palm readers and pendulum readers, astrologers, clairvoyants, psychics. And so we ask. And so they'll tell us from their tools and they use, and this is, in 3 months from now, this is what's going to happen to you. A week from now, 5 days, 6 days from now, this is what I see happening. Usually we're all ears, right? We've got anticipation, expectation, and attachment, sitting, waiting. And so one external authority says, yeah, you're going to come into a lot of wealth, a lot of money. And you go, really? Yeah. It's going to be an unknown source, and it's just going to come in. And you go, wow, that's great. And then, of course, ego mind kicks in, and you want even more specifics, right? So you say, when, what day, what day of the month, what time? When can I expect this to really take place? Okay. This is when we attach ourselves, and we have expectations and attachments to the outcome. So we expect the outcome to be a certain way, right? That's an attachment. So we bring that out, right? Now, the other part of us will, the other people will say, this is great, right? This is the intention. I believe in the universe. I have trust in the universe. I have trust in myself. I just let it be. You send it to the universe. Now, who do you think about 99.9% of the time is going to experience that manifestation? The second one. The one that doesn't hold on to it, the one that doesn't have expectations or attachments to it, and the one that genuinely, not fakingly in the head, the ego mind, but through the heart, knows this and lets it go. They're not concerned about when. They're not concerned about how. They just know, and it will happen, period. The other one, it won't happen. The only reason it won't happen is because they're pushing it away because they have all these expectations and attachments to the outcome of what was told to them on what was going to happen. And every answer that we ever are seeking is within us. Isn't that ironic? We spend all this time outside of us suffering, and if any time in this lifetime, go within and discover all the answers are there to our questions. So we have parts of ourselves, gods that we are, not the bodies, but the gods in the bodies, that are stone cold asleep. We have parts of ourselves, the gods that we are awake, consciously aware. Consciously aware means that we know through the heart mind that we are of and from the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal love. And there's the delusion that we have. That's for a reason, of the body, right? We all have these different bodies that we're in. And so we believe that we're separate, individual. Now, are the bodies really individual? Maybe. Are the gods? No. We're part of each other at all times. Always have been, always will be, ever beyond and forever. The gods within each body is part of the gods in every single body. It's like the ascended masters, Kuan Yin, Maitreya, Buddha, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Gaia, Saint Germain, Christ the Moria, Abundantia, Pel, Thoth, Yahweh, Yeshua. They had bodies they were in, right? And so, okay, so they ascend out of body. They hold pure consciousness, God form. God is pure consciousness. So the God within us, in these bodies, right in this very now, are pure consciousness. There's no separation between the ascended masters, their God, the God that they are, and us, the God that we are. There isn't. Buddha, right? Siddhartha. God within his body is no different than the gods within our body. It's all about discovery. That's what this is all about. Discovering. You look at all the off-worlders, galactics, and celestials. All right, so their gods are in bodies, some form, right? Pleiadians, Sirians, Arcturians, Andromedans, feline, the reticuli, Anunnaki, Nords, Greys, Draco Reptilian, Golden Pyramid, Avian. All forms, all right? Humanoid forms. Gods in those bodies. Gods in the bodies that we're in. Pure consciousness. All of the inhabitants of inner earth, hollow earth, Agartha, beneath earth, their gods are housed in bodies. Gods that they are. What about the Venusians, Jupiterians, Uranians? All of these physical forms house gods within them. Varying degrees of consciousness. Varying. Largely. All of our loved ones who what? The gods ascended out of physical form. In all lifetimes that we've inhabited, which means we've inhabited many. And we're all one. That's not going to change. Pieces of the one experiencing, you just imagine, just figure this, experiencing everything in many different directions across all existence and beyond. In physical forms. There are gods that inhabit fire form. There are gods that inhabit what? Water form. Air form. Earth form. Ether. Wood. Trees. It's endless. And we're all, how do you mingle if you're one, right? It's constant. But it's the discovery that is the key for this civilization and any civilization. Discovering who and what it is within these bodies. Not out there. People say, how many gods are there? Infinity and beyond. Inhabiting everything that you can imagine and beyond to experience. We focus on this planet, right? So we focus on it, the gods that we are. How many other gods do you think are focused on the liberation of this planet? And housing physical form. On it, in it, above it, below it, beyond it. We're in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, prosperity, abundance. And we are all one, the gods that we are within these bodies. And we are obviously all God and all love. And our God force, love, light, energy, is in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever continues to grow, intensify, and expand. We form a massive white fire circle of light around the equator of this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, and this now. This white fire light emanates from the gods that we are within these bodies. It is pure, deep, eternal love, the highest of the highest high vibrational frequencies. And it floods, saturates, and permeates this planet in this now, infinity and beyond, for life, the highest supreme value in the universes. There is no escape. That's the liberation of planet Earth, of the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies, of pure corrupted evil, twisted, all of it. This light is so bright, you could take 1 trillion suns, group them all together, and they would pale in comparison to this light. That's a fact. It is so bright that it grays out the darkness of sacred space. And it is love. Pure, deep, eternal love. Washing this planet. Saturating it, permeating it, head to toe, inside and out, above and below. Infinity and beyond. Now we begin to ascend above the planet. We come into immediate contact with this massive ocean of glitter. We describe this ocean of glitter the best we can with what we've experienced on this planet. A grand finale fireworks display, grand finale laser light show display, and a ballroom globe of all things. Shine light on this globe, perfectly etched little mirrors. It will flood the room with light. So we take all three of these, we condense them, put them together, and we intensify them 1 trillion times. And they go into one massive crescendo and one burst of multicolored light and bright, and it just splashes across creation. And this is as near as we'll get to the description and understanding of the ocean of glitter. We look at the reflective points, which are everywhere. And we enter them. We notice these little tiny, microscopic, perfectly etched mirrors. We go inside and we discover that all of us, all the gods that we are in all forms, are learning and teaching from each other, with each other. They were taught with these bodies that were separate, okay? Which is an illusion. And then we look at a tree across the street and the tree is separate. That's separate. That's not part of me. This is pretty much the understanding on this planet. But when you realize something, a God enters that body you're in and gives that body power. Right? Life force. A God enters a tree and gives that tree, in many ways, a power, life force. God in the soils. God in the watering, the rain, the water. You just think about this. And so what does the God do? The God experiences. That's what we do. So the God is experiencing the tree, the life of the tree. And the God gives the tree the life. So it can experience the tree. You see how that works? It works with everything. Oh, well, that's a lower consciousness. You want to be a pig, you enter the pig, you be the pig. Just to know what it's like to be the pig. You want to be a rock, the same way. There's no restrictions on us gods on what we choose to incarnate in. It's our choice. It's all about experiencing. Why do you think that in some areas of this planet, some of us believe that everything that crawls, walks, flies, anything is sacred? And it's a rediscovery of who and what we are in these bodies. And we're always learning. You can learn all the time. You can learn from trees. You can learn from bushes. You can learn from dogs, cats, cows, mooses, horses, bees, everything. You learn, and you just choose to be aware, cognizant to what is or not, and choose to live outside of yourself in the physical material world, the rat race. And we're immediately met, we create columns of light, the gods that we are in these bodies. These are kind of, they kind of jog our memories, so we, remember, we've got some amnesia sprinkled in. So, like Archangel Raphael. Archangel Raphael carries the emerald green, flaming, healing light. We collectively created this, gods that we are, to remind us that the gods in these bodies is the power of healing these bodies. We have Archangel Michael carries the column of violet, blue, purple, flaming light. This reminds us, the gods that we are, of our omnipotent power, strength, and resolve. Then we come across the white flyer. This is a column of light that we created to remind us, right, that we are protected 24/7. As long as we maintain that frequency. So lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies, pure corrupted, evil. That's about as evil as you can get. All the black goo, demon possession attachments do not happen and won't ever. Yet, only you have the power that if you decide to lower your vibrational frequency, it's up to you. It's choice. No one else. You decide to do that. Consciously or unconsciously. Through hatred, anger, fear, revenge, worry, stress, fear, anxiety, hurriedness, envy, manipulation, dishonesty, greed, you will lower your vibrational frequency enough so to allow lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies to come flooding in through the breach you create in your white fire armor. Now you decide to do this, you understand that then demon possession, attachments, all kinds of things are possible. But we have fail-safes, the gods that we are. So we created, what? Double column of light. First part of the column is the purple transmuting flame. It reminds us that we can bring in the purple transmuting flame immediately, transmute all these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies into neutral light substance, send them to pure consciousness where they are, no more. Now we have the second part of this column, the violet ray. We created this second part of the column to remind all of us, the gods that we are, that we can bring in the violet ray. We can cleanse and purify the area where these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies were, sealing the breach in our white fire armor, restoring our vibrational harmony to the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal love, gratitude, and peace. We are then met with the golden light, pink light. All of us gods in these bodies created this column to remind us all, the gods that we are the sun. We are the sunlight. We are the sunsets and the sunrises. We are the rain and the rainbows. We are the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, the streams. We are the trees, the forests, the soils, the animals. We are the clouds in the sky. Everything. Everything is us. But see, in the illusion that we have been manipulated into, the illusion says to us that we're separate. So that beautiful sunset is beautiful, isn't it? Yes, it is. Because it's the gods within these bodies. And when you see a rainbow or an ocean front, sunset, sunrise, and you're through the heart mind, and you're in the now, that is the God that I am. See, there's no ego there. There's no ego mind there involved with that. It's all heart mind. That is the God that I am. Now we continue to ascend above the planet. Some of us who are carrying physical form step out of the physical form and hover effortlessly above it. The reason that we do that is, number one, we can, and number two, it's really fun. We come in full contact with this massive crystalline light tower. We, the gods in these bodies, created this tower. It is larger than the solar system and beyond. In the center of the column, we discover a massive oblong sphere. In the center of the sphere is this humongous golden white bowl of light. It is surrounded by numerous multicolored rings of light that go to infinity and beyond. This, in turn, creates a massive, sparkling, super bright white cloud. This is absorbed through our heart minds. It feels like a warm embrace that never ends. Then we discover that the golden white bowl of light is the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal love. Then comes gratitude, well-being, gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, massive prosperity, and massive abundance. And all of this is a reflection of the gods that we are within these bodies. Now, we designed the top of the column so that the golden ocean can come cascading down 360 degrees, 24/7, infinity and beyond, as it's doing right now. What is the golden ocean? Pure, deep, eternal love. The highest of the highest high vibrational frequencies. And it's flooding, saturating, permeating this planet. Every crevice, every crack, on it, in it, below it, above it, around it, saturating everything. Now, we are drops of this golden ocean. We also hold the essence of this golden ocean. Golden ocean is drops of the golden ocean. And the only illusion is separation. We see our meditative sphere. We created this sphere, the gods that we are, over 4 years ago. It holds nearly 1,900 of our meditations in perpetual motion, growing, strengthening, expanding. The highest of the highest high intense and the full liberation of this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, and this now. That's why this sphere can be seen, heard, and felt, and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. This is why it continues to grow, expand, and intensify. And you can absolutely tap in whenever you choose through meditation in the now and see what's going on. What's going on with this planet? And you'll see a field that we, the gods, put in of a golden white pink light. Now you can see through it, okay? It's opaque, but you can see the golden white pink light. It shimmers through the atmosphere. And this is pure, deep, eternal love. And now understand that all the goop, the AI rogue goop, and all of the dark black matter, and all of the pure corrupted evil, and the lower dark matter frequencies, survival matter frequencies, are lifting off of the planet. and they're going through this field, and they're disintegrating everywhere you look. Now, we the gods, created this sky, if you will, but it looks more like a ceiling. And this goop keeps floating up. And as it does, it gets less and less and less. Now, any of it that makes the sky, which is a super bright golden white pink light, at one flash, it is absolutely disintegrated, vaporized permanently. Quite a sight to witness. That's what's happening on this planet, in it, above it, and below it, and around it. The liberation of this planet in full swing will affect this entire universe and beyond. That's a good thing. Remain present to whatever is inside. Is there something feeding on your energy or eating at you from the inside? The problem will shift when you do. What all has happened in your life from beginning until now? What has happened? Whatever it is that you absolutely do not want to feel it. The moment you do, it will move and change, form. And remember, motion. Motion stands for energy in motion. I'll join you in the meditation and return to close us out. Take an easy, slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out of the mouth. Be still. Surrender is the secret key to your enlightenment today. The moment you surrender to this internal battle and be submerged in the actual experience of it, it disappears. If you are having trouble surrendering, let your greatest fear arise in you. Face it directly. Let go of anything you're attached to. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and the following morning. We will return here Wednesday, June 15th, 2022, to continue our global guided meditation